My godson was having difficulties in school, and Colin has these big, beautiful blue eyes, and I would notice that they jumped all over the place. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what it was called. And I didn't know what impact it would have.
He couldn't read. Not on level, not off. Just was really not recognizing words and being able to sound things out.
But I went to flip a baseball to him one day, and I flipped it underhand, and I watched it sail right by his head, and neither one of his eyes tracked the ball. And I thought, that's really strange. And I said to my sister Joan, something's not right with Colin's eyes. And I started to do some research, and I looked on the internet.
When I was studying, I wasn't reading from line to line, and I kept skipping lines. I had to go back and reread, and so it took longer, and I wasn't that productive when I was studying, so.
He is a good reader, and he loves to read. He was just reading too fast and missing the instructions on tests.
The only complaint I ever received from her teachers at school was that she was so fast at doing everything. She was so speedy.
Well, I couldn't really concentrate on the words, and I didn't really like to.
And a woman from Connecticut said to me, Jack, as much as you love kids, if you ever see what this doctor has put together that's helping all these kids, you're going to go crazy. I said, well, what do you mean? She says, I can't really explain it. I know it's called structure of intellect, and it's helping a lot of kids that have been misdiagnosed with ADD and autistic kids and all kinds of kids just achieve better. She said, you'll have to come up to Connecticut so you can see it for your own eyes. You have to see what's happening. So I went up there and I see kids, bouncing on mini trampolines, flipping a beanbag on precision balance boards and doing eye tracking exercises. And I thought, how is this affecting what's going on in school?
When I met Jack from the Focus Academy, I listened to what he had to say, and I said, well, maybe that's something that he could help Marina with slowing down and showing her that by taking her time and being more detail-oriented, that she would save herself time in the long run.
We weren't sure. We did some research. We were very impressed with the information, and we thought we'd give Jack a try.
SOI stands for Structure of Intellect, and it was a theory back in the 50s and 60s that a doctor by the name of J.P. Guilford was working on. And the military had a big problem because a lot of the fighter pilots were dropping out of training. They couldn't cut it. So they brought in this guy, J.P. Guilford, who was an expert at doing assessments, and they found these certain skill sets that pilots needed to have. So Mary Meeker was his graduate student at USC, and she chose to take that information and weave it into education. And then she spent the rest of her life creating learning modules to strengthen where our gaps were. So Mary Meeker was the one who proved the theory of structure of intellect. Robert is Mary's husband, and he's one of the world's most famous behavioral psychologists and a systems guy. So they really were a perfect marriage. Mary was the creator, and Robert was the one who put it in a container that could be systemized. So we're testing for auditory processing and visual processing. So a child may pass a near-point vision test and appear to have 20/20 vision, has 20/20 vision. That's only a few seconds in time. Their eyes can compensate for a few seconds and decode accurately. That doesn't have anything to do with, can they continue to decode accurately and read accurately line after line after line for page after page and send that to their memory and then be able to retrieve that information accurately and efficiently. That's the difference. This is about processing information and doing it more efficiently by following a systemized regimen.
There's a drill that we do where you have to read line to line, and you have to make sure he goes, and if he sees you, you have to go back and start over and keep going from line to line. So that kind of helped me getting used to it, studying.
Some kids will do this. I'll say red, they'll go to the red, and then I'll say white, and their eyes will dip down as if it's a trapeze going across. So that child is missing 10, 20, 30% of the information and doesn't even realize why they don't know the answers to the question that the teacher's asking. It's not that they're dumb, they just didn't read it. So we all would have two choices at the end of that. One kid would say, I'm done. It's too hard for me, I'm checking out. Another may say, I'll read it over. Neither one of those are good choices because now time becomes an issue. If I have to reread things 2 and 3 and 4 times, as the work gets heavier, now I'm frustrated because I'm ending up doing 6 hours worth of homework.
The initial assessment was that there was difficulty with his eyes, and it has improved over the course of the training.
What you see almost immediately is a feeling of improvement and success, and that was purposely done by the Meekers. Imagine that they've taken almost every one of these concepts and broken it down to its most simple concept level, where everybody would get it, okay? And then gradually, I'm building on and I'm layering on and I'm making it a little bit more difficult and a little bit more difficult and a little bit more difficult. But the child is succeeding in short little blocks. I won, and I'm going to win tomorrow, and I'm going to reach that goal tomorrow, and I did. And then I'm going to win again tomorrow.
He has really surpassed what we thought. My son's grades have improved, and he's starting to realize that he has to slow down when he's reading instructions and proofing his tests, and he's doing very well in school.
My grades have really gone up because of studying. I've been able to get more information in a shorter period of time, so I was able to memorize it more.
There's been a maturing under Jack's tutelage that has been exciting.
They reassessed him at school, and he was reading at the beginning of 3rd grade, so he improved a year in, like half a year.
By the end of the program, he was reading on level.
He's been more responsible. He even cleans the table after meals. I don't have to ask him anymore.
A couple weeks into when he did it, I started to stop having problems. My reading started to improve, and I started to enjoy it a little more.
We just had to find the key, and Jack actually was the key.
It's a little bit of progress, a little bit of progress, a little bit more progress, and you start to watch this fantastic change in their self-confidence. So now it goes from, I can't do anything, to I can.
If they feel better about themselves and that they're improving, then their self-esteem all around is going to be better.
Without Jack and the Focus Academy, I think we would still be struggling.
I think just even going through the program with him, I picked up a lot of memory strategies and different ways of storing information and taking in a lot.
I'd rather light them up and have them go towards what they're good at and lift the things they're a little weaker at on their way, but allow them to enjoy it, and they should enjoy it. It's the best time of their life. They should be having a great time in school, not feeling like the finish line is graduation day and let me get this over with. That should just be the beginning.
Well, we did a spelling test, and I got almost everyone right, just about everyone. I feel pretty good.